Today's topic kind of sometimes raises eyebrows because when the feminist movement is looked down a lot upon. Okay, but this is not just about speaking about feminism, but it's a lot more about what involves our roots. As in, when I say our, being born in this land, it's speaking more about my roots, okay, my journey through my own healing after I lost a child through miscarriage, and understanding how a bonding happened with women, irrespective of women being just from here, but from, I had a filmmaker from Assam who understood the pain because she spoke about child loss in her 8-minute film. There was another filmmaker whom I met at the film festival who also spoke about his sister losing his child, and he's done this whole movie. And at the end of it, because it just happened by coincidence, I happened to be sitting on the same row as them, and I was just crying through the whole process of the movie. And his girlfriend just came and she hugged me, and at that moment, across borders, the sisterhood that exists, but at the same time, how nature brings these connections. And these connections happen without our planning. And that today what I'm talking about is again about these connections through nature and through the human body, how we develop and how women as a whole. But when I'm talking about women, they are not separate entities, but also the entities of how they embody holding of the whole family together. So it's not something just separate from the unit that exists. So when we talk about ecofeminism, it would be talking about the feminine and ecology, okay? The liberation that females experienced before. Now, how many of you all know that the Vedas were more actually conducive? I won't say even they're not even patriarchal, but they were more matrilineal. How many of you all do know that? They were not patriarchal. And I study one form of the Yajurveda, and from that comes Ayurveda. So that way I can tell you that women were also keepers of that wisdom that is there. It's later on, much later on, I would call it after the Dark Ages, that it gets more patriarchal in nature. Okay, before that, there was equality in a very different sense that we don't need to emphasize that their equality existed. Okay? They were keepers and sharers of this knowledge that is there from time immemorial. And I would also like to talk about something called as eco-theology. How many have heard of this kind of a term? Okay? When we talk about eco-theology, it is beyond actually theos, would be talking about religion, right? So when we are talking here about eco-theology, we are talking more about, so you can go through this definition that I just found and I said that I would share because I found it embodying a lot of what I wanted to convey. Okay, that would include climate change, that would include sustainable practices, okay, that would also understand spirituality beyond the forms of, formed religion as we know of fixed religion into fixed places. This moves much beyond that. And what is practiced here in Goa is nature religion, or animism as we would call it, which is beyond any of these things. So when I am going to do in the next slide, as you can see, we're getting directly into Shravan Aitar. How many were here during Shravan in Goa, if I may ask? During Shravan month? Okay, do you know that we have a very special celebration here in Goa, which is not just Chaturthi. Chaturthi everyone knows, okay? You have the pandal where the matoi is put and things like that. But every Sunday, leading up to Chaturthi, from the time of the onset of the Shravan month, is a big celebration for the mother-in-law and daughter-in-laws in the house. Now this is in communities that are not Brahminical. Brahminical, the male son does these celebrations. So I have not covered that. I'm going to cover the area where women, so it's the mother-in-law that would hand over this information down to the daughter-in-law. And this happens, now if they're not Brahminical, then this is how the information gets permeated down to the generation. And what we would find is, so that's why environmental issues and has a practical application in promoting sustainable practices and conservation within religious communities. Okay, so that is what happened is once even they had a formed religion come in, okay, even then these practices got translated and included into Shravan practices leading up to Ganesh Chaturthi. Now what you have here is Shravan Aitar. There are so many reels. I mean, this year specifically, Instagram was loaded with Shravan Aitar reels, as in even how the plate to keep these different flowers was done, the stand and things like that. But that's again very, talking about a lot of things related and plants. Everything is plants based, by the way, okay? And nothing goes waste. Like nothing would go in your garbage bin. Everything goes back to the land from where it is harvested from. And that is called as Aitar Pawop. Okay, in the night, in the evening when it is done, it's called Aitar Pawop. That means you are finished with the celebration for the day. Now this lady, as you can see, she's going collecting these different herbs. These herbs are not far away from home. These are all forest dwelling communities whom I have covered. Okay. More specifically, as you see, because again the ecofeminism is still preserved there still in the forest dwelling communities and those that live in the hinterlands. Cities, we don't have the time. You'll go to the market. I don't know how many of you all have noticed. There was this time for Shravan Aitar flowers, I saw chrysanthemum, I saw orchids. These flowers are not part of what is to be offered actually for a Shravan Aitar platter. It is flowers from nature. How many have seen the white masunda growing everywhere here in Goa in the wild? There's some even out here. The white masunda with the tiny orange flower. So that's called as the Dhobi's handkerchief. That is also one of the flowers that is included. It is also called as Gauri because everyone knows about Hartalika Puja when you talk about Indian custom. Hartalika Puja is supposed to be a day when you are done intense fasting. You pray to Parvati. And that same thing here is called as Gauri in Goa. And the festival is called as Tai, which is again totally done by women, and you're supposed to eat unsalted vegetables that day. It is basically to detox your body, to prepare for the gastronomical delight that is going to happen for the next 5 days, as I can call it. So these are simple medicinal plants. Now, coming from an Ayurvedic background, that I can tell that these plants that she picks up, they are all either for thyroid, they are for joint pains. If you go to see, when we look at it, how did they know about this knowledge? So, they have this different kind of approach, and there is a song. So, Shravan Aitar is, so Aitar, how many know is, again, we call it Sunday. It's simply not just Sunday, but it's also to Aditya or Surya Dev.
तराच्या दिवशी आहे तर कुणीला चांचणे उगवला जळजळात नको पिळती पडदळात बोटा आले बटा कारणी वाजंत्री आले वाजपा कारणी आली आली साड्यावरी काळकंडीच्या देवळा पाटल्या मेतकेची खाटी बटा हाती माणिक मोती बटान केले नको कणकी जान कृष्णाचे हेगे तुळशी लक्षावंती.
How many caught the words? Bhat, Tulsi, anything else? Man, the temple. Okay, there was mention of a temple. Okay, so she's singing it so fast. This entire video got done in 23 seconds. Okay, she's so fast. Did she breathe? She didn't stop to breathe. Now, who taught her this? Her mother and her mother-in-law. Both of them taught her this. In fact, she's the eldest of about 6 siblings. And so that's her hand actually.
कोडी कोडीची फुला म्हणतात.
कोडियाची फुला.
कोडीची फुला म्हणतात.
Has anyone seen these white clerodendron? The blue mormon butterfly loves this flower. All the butterfly enthusiasts will know. This is a flower that flowers specifically July, August. It will see a multiplicity of butterflies around it, and then you will find them muddling soon after the end of August around these plants. You'll understand the term muddling if I may just include. It's basically the butterflies, you will see them in a cluster down on the floor. They're taking minerals down from the soil, so it's called muddling. Okay? And now coming back here, she's collecting these flowers again. And why these flowers? These flowers are super fragrant. If you ever smell them, they are as fragrant as the jasmine. So that is the reason also why the butterflies, but these are used by women. They use it in their hair, they use it to offer, and now many of them have forgotten. Some of these were used to make like a kada or a tea. Very few people do this anymore. Now why was this given? How many of us have jasmine tea? Right? Why not our local flowers from here? I mean, and if you know, these flowers were good for thyroid, they are good for calming, they are good for giving us good sleep. How did these mother-in-laws ever know? I mean, what was their intuition? To the level of, you can understand, I mean, how much of, there was no bookish knowledge. Just passing down from generation to generation.
ताका कितें म्हणटात?
हेका हेका आमी नाचणो म्हणटा.
खूब दिसता थिंगां.
You see how fine the leaves are? It was in the previous photo slide that she was holding. It's called nachno. Nachno here is basically ragi. Ragi millet. Okay, that's how simple. Now this particular small little one is again very useful for thyroid and menstrual cramps. You make a kada of it. You don't need to take Neftal spares. If you only realize, I mean, there is so much medicine here around. If you noticed in the video, there's the tulsi, right?
White one looks a little bit like thyme.
It looks like thyme, but it's not. Look again, look again. It's just growing on an ordinary wall.
ताका कितें म्हणटात?
हेका हेका आमी नाचणो म्हणटा.
खूब दिसता थिंगां.
Yes. No, it's not the same. In fact, this is from like a Petunia family. People use it in herbariums without even knowing that it's got a medicinal value. You know, many people are making these terrariums and things like that. And it looks very nice because it comes in the rainy season and you'll find them growing on walls and along with the moss. And that's how actually it has its medicinal use. And it's so close. We are right there round, you know, not even 10 feet away from where she lives. So everything is picked, what is used for Shravan Aitar is picked from around there. Are these things to understand? So Shravan Aitar is basically 4 Sundays where the celebration happens. Morning they go out, they'll collect these leaves, okay? They'll come back. Basically, it is a minimum of about 10 leaves that are there along with some of the flowers, okay? And as you've seen, you know, so the masunda, white masunda, this, what she called, this little flower, the clerodendron that was there in her hand, that, and you know, 2-3 other flowers that are added. One of them is of course called as a ghost flower. It has no, it's called ghost flower because it just grows from above the soil. It has no leaves, nothing, but it's a beautiful pink little spoon, ladle. It literally looks like a ladle. So it's called as Dhallo. Any of you all have gone to eat Goan food, you will have eaten it in a coconut shell which is put in a mud pot. So that's called a Dhallo. So that is the translation, that flower is called Dhallo because it actually is like a ladle. Just little thing like that. So what do all of these symbolize, you know? So 4 Sundays and sometimes, okay, there is a 5th Sunday that happens for Shravan Aitar that is called as the Mataro. That means it doesn't happen every time, okay? It happens just once in really like 15 years, 10 to 15 years. So then it's called as the Mataro Aitar, as in the aged one. Mataro meaning the old man, okay, the aged one. So that is what happens on the 5th Sunday. But the same thing is done every Sunday. They will collect all these herbs from around there, okay, and offer it to Surya Dev. And the song that you saw earlier is sung, okay. What do they basically do? Domestic security, fertility and abundance. Why abundance? Can anyone think about it? Anything that comes to mind? Did she spend any money? No. But rather she saw to it that she got certain things that helped the family, right? The health of the family. The mother-in-law is teaching the daughter-in-law how to take care of her health. Prepartum, postpartum, during delivery, okay? How to take care postpartum depression nowadays. Okay, we've got such terms that are happening. Being a medical professional, come on, I mean, medicine makes so much money on these terms. We give counseling. So I do something called as Garbha Sanskar, where we encourage women to start planning for a good birth even before they have conceived for a child. So it's not just women, I get this male partner too involved, because I believe that everything happens as a team. And we then start planning for planned parenthood, as you can call it. But this is also part of what we include in planned parenthood. Because if this is not there as the basics, you till the soil, as it is called in Ayurveda, our texts say, you till the soil, you get the soil ready, and then you add the seed, right? And then the seed takes a very strong root. So these things is what add to the wholesomeness that existed in the past. The celebration again is a very deep connection to the local biodiversity. Who would want then to weed and put fire to these things? The common complaint that I hear from everywhere is, oh, somebody set fire in the field where our villa is, or around our building, there is fire being set. It's again because they have forgotten what the local biodiversity contained. Okay, they also seek blessings, as I said, for long life from sun god. Now, when we talk about sun god, every religion talks about the sun god, right? The Aztecs, Incas, Mexicans, you could come here to Southeast Asia, everyone talks about the sun god. But how many know that besides talking about the sun god and having Surya Namaskar here, yet in India, me included, suffer from severe vitamin D deficiency? Now it's such a shame, right? That we are vitamin D deficient when actually we don't have snowfall, we can go. So how many worship the tulsi and forget to do the Surya Namaskar at the time when worshipping the tulsi? Did you know that? That you're supposed to do Surya Namaskar in the morning when you're worshipping the tulsi. But this has again gotten forgotten with our busy lifestyles and things like that. Did you notice her hand? She had the green bangles. I think even in the poster, the picture is her holding with the green bangles. Green is a symbol of fertility. Okay, green is again a symbol of married woman. Green also is a symbol of being. So here I consider it married not just to the man, she's also married to the soil around. Because if you notice, her mother-in-law is telling her about the plants around there. Again, here we forget that married again is, you're married to so much around. And when I talk about married to the soil, we'll come back and see how one of the dance forms by the tribals later on during the talk is also talking about how they will pray for the protection of the family. Did you all know that we have ecofeministic festivals here in Goa? Only by the tribal communities, still carried on. There are 3 of them, in fact. Katyo is the first one. Katyo is something that's going to happen now. How many have heard of the word Karthik Purnima? Okay, so when is Karthik Purnima? In a few days, right? It's coming up. How many want to experience this? It's something that happens only on Karthik Purnima night. Okay, and one of the documented tribal festivals in India that I can say that is directly related with having astronomical rangoli and as directly related to the 7 planets that revolve, that come there in front of the 7 stars. Basically, they call them stars, but it's actually planets, that they align themselves around the moon. How many know now we are going to have clear skies, right? And then by December we'll have meteoroid showers and one can enjoy clear skies post the rains, belated rains here in Goa, as I can say, in November onwards. So this festival is directly related with the stars. When the women dance, they actually dance in a star-like formation around the tulsi. That's what Katyo is about. And Katyo, so they will use chunam, is one of the things that is used to make rangoli. Chunam basically is lime, shell lime. So that is used to make rangoli. Karit is a bitter lemon here. It looks like a musk melon which you get in Delhi or Gurgaon, Haryana, Rajasthan, which people make, achar, I'm told of it, a small little melon. But the currant here is very bitter. So it's used for Diwali, and you just take you break it on Diwali day, and you take a bit of it and you put it on your tongue and you put it here on your forehead. So it's bitter. Again, it clears up the gut and improves circulation. And also, what it does is it sees that because it is bitter, you will not have elevated sugar reading when you're going to have 5 different sweets during the day. So as I say, it acts as a buffer for the gastronomical delight. And again, coming back here, this is celebrated exclusively just one day. There are just 2 villages left now here in Goa that celebrate it. It's in Darbondara, Ponda, and Paz in Shirona. If you all are interested, just let us know. I think even Neha could do something. And there are songs that are sung which are very specific to women. It's only done by women. There is no males involved. Males will be sitting in the audience. The women will be singing this song. Okay? And as I said, it's the only festival that is related to a nakshatra, that is documented as in the sense where they will be dancing to the star-like pattern. And again, few villages in Karnataka. How many know that the tribals also, they are from borders of Maharashtra and Karnataka, Goa. So they have carried, so the Kunbis, Gaudis, Vairibs, which are our documented tribal communities of Goa, they are also in these heartland, because the heartland, could a border stop anybody from moving? It stops us now, but in the past it was without borders. So that's how you have it. And let me know if you want. Dhallo and Dhillo, these are the other 2 festivals with a this one of words. If you notice, how many know the Kunbi sari? So you can see the women are in the Kunbi sari. This is a very active dance. Any overweight women around here? Can you see? In the picture? No, right? But why was this, and this is a very vibrant form. When they dance, they did it for the heritage dance here, even in Panjim. The foot movement, that's why I said I'm not going to wear footwear today. The foot movement is this high. Now what happens when you're doing this? We are now going to gyms, okay? We are going to do strength training and weight training to have a baby, to have good and a safe delivery, and then even postpartum to get back into shape. But do you think these women had gyms at that time? And yet how they are so slim, so slender. Nobody will say they have been mothers also, and you know how it is in the villages, they are like more than 3 sometimes, some of them. And yet they are that active. This dance again is very seasonal, if you notice. So in the rains, there is no active form of dance, it's only field work. After that, it is this kind of a dance. And again, it's only done by women. Okay? That's why I put it right there. It's another eco-feminist festival. Now this is also done by Christian women. This is a dance, Hindu women, Christian women. So that's what I said, there is no religious definition for this dance form, because after conversion, okay, it is that they still carried forward the animistic traditions that were there of the land. The timing of the dance, again, as you notice, how many have noticed, I'm always talking about the moonlight in the dances. Okay? It's always under the moonlight skies, because it starts after Sharad Purnima. When is Sharad Purnima? We just finished Sharad Purnima some time back, right? What do you do on Sharad Purnima? How many of us know about? You offer milk, you make a sweet dish, milk is kept to the moonlight, and basically you just keep it there. People keep crystals to the moonlight, right? I don't know how many years, do you wash crystals in the moonlight? You can even do the same thing with sweets. So every Purnima, but Sharad Purnima in specific, is you allow the energy of the moon, because it's the closest at that time, you allow the energy of the moon to seep into you. It's also the time when the heat in our body is the maximum. It's not in summer. The heat is maximum during autumn here in India, more specifically southern India. So that time you take this food to increase the the cold things in our body. And you're supposed to be, if you notice, all the dances, the season and everything start from October, November onwards, right? We get more active, nightlife is more. But do you know this is already that nightlife existed in the past? There was a nightlife that was so different. Okay, and typically Wednesday or a Sunday. You may always ask, how many have followed Rakandar worship here in Goa? And always is on a Wednesday and a Sunday. It's never any other day. Also, there's a bitter medicine that you take here in Goa called as kiraite. Always a Wednesday and a Sunday. Never to be taken on any other day. Again, you will say, why? It's about the sun. It's related to the sun. You try taking this bitter medicine on a Thursday, and I'm telling you, you will actually feel dizzy. So the experiment is sitting right there. My husband, he'll tell you, so I know what it is, so somehow we tend to hide sometimes if these things are happening. But you're given to someone who doesn't know anything, and you tell them, observe and tell you the symptoms, what it is that's happening. So the bitter cannot be digested so much on other days of the week. And you can take it on these days. Now again, the dance is by women in two parallel rows. Okay, they will be either hugging each other like that, circular, or in two parallel rows. Very similar to the Goans. Observe the style again. Seen a Goan the dance? Urao, the Urao tribes also. Coming back here, the ritual, the dance starts when the women decorate again the area with the rangoli. When the celebration starts, they offer thali. Rice here forms a very important part. Rice, moog, jaggery, okay, cooked and served. Why again? Rice, moog, jaggery. Wouldn't us women like these? Is something that is actually very comforting food. It helps the uterus. It helps increase breast milk. I mean, for those who don't know, if you have a daughter-in-law, or you have a friend who's, just been delivered a child, that's very good to have. It's also very cooling for the body. Now you'll say rice. When we say rice, oh, carbs, we're going to gain weight. You don't if it is a rice that's kept for 1 year. Ayurveda also mentions if you don't want to get diabetes, it's the rice that is kept for 1 year that is to be had. So before the celebration starts, as I mentioned that, and then, there's a mandi. In Hindi, we would say mandi, right? A place where everybody meets. But here we say mand. So if you notice, just the eye is not there. So it's a sacred space in front of, houses will be at the sides of the space, and this is a sacred space right there in front. And they would start then singing. The male folk are doing their own thing. And this goes on every day for the next 15 days, okay? So then what happens in the man? No footwear, two parallel rows facing each other. If you noticed again, see they are interlocked. They will then hold themselves, here they are doing a particular action with the hand. So again, when you're doing all this, can you see the exercise that is happening to the core of the body? And every part of the body getting exercised. Okay, just watch that. They're moving backward and forward in unison. Okay? And if you notice, they are very fancy. You see the flowers in the head? Aboli flowers. Very specific. The firecracker, if you know the English word for that. And they pray. This is a very unique thing. The prayer is to Mother Earth. So Goa celebrates Mother Earth in a very, very unique way. And we call her Sateri. So you've ever heard or passed by any Sateri temple, it basically referring to the anthill or the mother goddess. Okay, the earth goddess that is there. And very specifically, every celebration in Goa, when it is related to ecofeminism, is related with an anthill. So she is also called, now in later terms, Shanta Durga. Shanta Durga is only here in Goa. Durga is active, very vibrant, angry all over India. Shanta Durga is only in Goa. That's how you have the Shanta Durga temples all over. Starting, it is just here. She comes, it is said that she comes here and she becomes calm. This land of Goa made her calm. So imagine, it makes everyone calm. It made her calm too. So that's how Shanta Durga is only celebrated here. So it is Satyr, it is Rowan, okay? It is the Satyri temple. Now why Satyr? If you do a cross section of an anthill, you will basically see 7 organized chambers in an anthill. So that's how Satyr. And then again, the food, which is rich in protein in Shravan, which was you're not supposed to eat fish, chicken, and mutton, comes from that, as in the Termitomycetes mushroom. So that's how she's giving you food. You're worshipping her. She's giving you food. She's the ever benevolent mother goddess. Dhallo is this very, very unique dance. It just got over a week back. Now these women, if you notice the color of their saris. It's very yellow, okay? Uniquely yellow. Look at their hair. Very, fully bedecked with flowers. Every single one of them. Now both these two forms of dances, Dhallo and Dhillo, do not include widowed women because again, but they don't have a problem with if a woman is not having a child. She's a married woman without a child. Because in many places, this kind of a woman would be ostracized. But here, in these dance forms, none of this thing happens. And again, there is a very specific songs that happen during these dance forms. They sing in praise of the different plants around them. It actually includes Saptaparna or the Alstonia scholaris. They will sing songs to the teak tree. They will sing songs to the Arjuna tree. They will sing songs sitting under, the Tectona grandis, of course, is teak. Singing songs to the billow mud. The billow mud as in the fishtail palm. So what are they singing about? And what is this shared feminism that I'm talking? They're talking about the grief, because many a times these were hinterland villages. There was no transport. They are singing about not being able to go to their mother's house. When they go to their mother's house, the brother's wife is troubling them. She is not giving them good food when they go. It's such a pain sometimes to go to the mother's house, because once the mother dies, she's not given the same reception as in what happens there. Including that lady whose interview you all saw, she also told me that it was very different when, her mother was there, and now of course her mother is aged, her brother is there. It's not that the welcome is not there, the welcome is there, but that warmth, that comfort, that embrace is not there. And these are the songs that they sing. If you hear and you only understand, because it's in a mixture of Konkani and Marathi, because the influences that have happened through the land and the conquest. So what you have here, the Dhillo festival begins in autumn and ends after 2 weeks. It's a minimum of 15 days. Okay. Again, mud from this. So watch a YouTube video. I'm just going to give you all a link. It's from RDX. It's on Dhillo festival by a journalist called Devidas Kaukar. Okay. I said I'll share you all about this, and he mentions very specifically how this mud from the satyr or the rowan is collected. It's ground by mortar and the round rogado we call it. Okay, so which is basically mortar and pestle. You grind the mud in that to make a smooth paste, and then a pancake-like thing is made, and a hot cross-like bun, one cross is put on top, and then karit is offered. Okay, and then start the celebrations. Then they start singing and all. Now what happens in this festival specifically? Women get 15 days leave from household chores. I'm serious. Otherwise they have to do everything. So 15 days of leave from household chores. How great is that? They get time to spend together. They get a holiday. Okay? It is normally very difficult for women to get holiday. Now, how many women across India can say there is a documented holiday based for them? Very few women. So these women in this tribal community actually get a holiday. And when we talk about Velips, the unique thing about the Velip community is they are directly forest dwelling and they are herding communities. So their house will never be touching the mud. They will always be elevated from the mud. Down there is their, the herd would be kept. They live on top, so it's more like Assamese houses, if you have seen, or the ones in water where they are on top. Anyone from Assam? Okay, okay. So you have it on an elevated position, and then is where they stay on top. And everything is right there, but they are so clean homes. Okay, so this is a forest dwelling community. The festival honors the connection between nature, earth, and women. Okay, there is a very unique connection. As I mentioned, it's even a holiday, so they can gather together, gossip as much as they want. I'll say men are equal gossips. Okay. Karat is again offered and songs are sung. Now the specific thing about this festival is it's actually like the way the Goans do it. So they'll go forward, they'll come behind. Okay? This is the way they will actually dance for this song. Again, when you notice, moonlight skies, so it starts again after Sharad Purnima. It's under the moon, you're dancing at the end of the day, okay, because you're busy talking and doing other things during the day, okay. And also, have you noticed these two festivals are after the harvest? Agreed, rains have gone belated over here now, so they are still harvesting, but this harvest has already happened. And if you notice, post-harvest, across the world, there are many festivals. Sukkot for the Jews, as you know, and the tabernacles that happen. You have the festival in Southeast Asia where they'll have New Year and the Lantern Festival, and they will have different celebrations which are just gotten over in Southeast Asia. You'll have in Sri Lanka a different festival that's happening. Africa has their own celebrations. The Aztecs and the Incas have their own. So we are so linked with nature, and the women specifically, by default, I don't know, I say it's from here, it's from the umbilicus, that we are that closely connected to nature. It is, so if you notice, when you see the prehistoric, and you see the rock arts when they are done, in the labyrinth, like, so it starts, and then the concentric circles that happen. You notice that that is actually how life is, and the way the connections that develop. And I would say, please keep these connections. I mean, we can be so well educated, we can go to the best of the universities and have the best high-flying corporate jobs, but staying connected to each other. And here, I mean, even as a unit of a family, or the communities that we live in, the commune that we are in, is bringing wholesomeness to everyone as a whole, and that is what adds to healing as a whole.